I'm going to start with Marcelo Meyer because he was really the news of the weekend. And the good news is that he got called up. The good news, Andrew, is that he went 2 for 4 yesterday, single-double. Only run scored for the Red Sox was scored by Meyer. And I think all of us would agree that he deserved to be called up. But what were your thoughts on what kind of happened over the weekend? The Bregman injury, Meyer gets called up last second, and what we saw over the last couple of days.
Capital D, disappointing.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with this team.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Meyer, I think everyone is welcoming it. The opportunity met the need, right, for him to come up 2 months. We all see what he's hitting. Worse than Roman Anthony, by the way, who should be up soon thereafter. So you're happy to see Marcelo Meyer. We are not happy about us splitting a 4-game homestand with one of the worst teams in baseball, knowing your schedule for the next month, the next 6 weeks, is littered with teams that are 500 or better and include division series against the Rays and Yankees. So when you're 27 and 28, squandering opportunities, A, to make your team better as long as Roman Anthony is still in AAA, and then also beating up on the freaking Baltimore Orioles, you just look and go, I get the Bregman injury, and we'll spend more time on that, and that's significant. How did we get here? 27 and 28 Memorial Day weekend.
It's ridiculous. 5-5. In the long 10-game homestand, defines you as a team, has defined you as a team for the past 4 or 5 years. It's completely mid. It's a 500. It's an average baseball team, and that's what you're dealing with. And the expectations were higher this year. The Crochet deal, signing Bregman, everything felt good. And now we're to the point, Andrew, that Marcelo Meyer coming up again. It's good news for Meyer, and I'm happy for him, and I'm excited to watch him play because obviously the resume is there. And the investment is there. So we're all happy to see Meyer, and it was great to see him get his first hit and his family in the crowd. By the way, the person who was yapping to Marcelo Meyer's family during his first at-bat yesterday, they showed the family in the crowd, and there was a fan that was just, like, talking, and you could tell the family...
Was this an O's fan?
I think it was a Red Sox fan, but you could tell the family was trying to, like, pay attention to their son and their brother at bat. And this fan is just, I'm like, read the room. What are you doing? But Marcelo Meyer coming up. Again, great story for him, Andrew. But this is where we're at. We're like, they actually need this guy. They need some of his offense because this team can't score runs. Obviously, they went crazy on Friday, but they can't score runs. The bullpen is overused. The rotation has been shoddy. Now Bregman goes for I don't know how long of an extended stint. And it's just like this is already the desperation. We're not even in June yet, and you have to rely on a rookie to try to give you some juice.
And they got to play at 2:10 today. There's no rest for the weary. Played 3 games in about 48 hours over the weekend. And look, I think we should pivot to Bregman because you look at the lineup now without him. There's not a single right-handed hitter that if you're an opposing pitching coach scares you at all, right? And it's great to have Devers hitting like the best player on the planet right now. And Jarren Duran's starting to come around, just as we saw last year. And he catches fire, makes the All-Star game, wins MVP, all that.
Yeah.
That's cool. What's not cool is the bottom half, now maybe even 2/3 of this lineup without Alex Bregman. Mind you, Meyer also comes up. Again, great. He's got to play a new position. Like, welcome to the majors, kid. By the way, here's a handbook on how to play third base. That's not how you wanted to do this. You want a guy who's a top 5 pick to come in and play his position. But there is another issue. Trevor Story. Okay?
Oh, my God.
Guy's completely lost at the plate.
Can't hit.
And this is not an issue of a guy not working hard enough, not having enough experience. We've seen Trevor Story, even the beginning of his Red Sox tenure and obviously Colorado. But you can't have him there much longer because he's giving you not zero. He's dragging down the bottom half of the lineup. And so you're asking Meyer not only to come in and fill that, but also play a new position, unless you think they should do something else at third.
You look at this lineup yesterday. Carlos Narvaez was your cleanup hitter. Now, he's been a great story, absolute steal from the Yankees so far, and shout out to him because he's been terrific. He's your everyday catcher now, and for good reason, and he had 2 more hits yesterday. But if I told you in March that Carlos Narvaez was going to be your cleanup hitter in late May, Memorial Day weekend, you would have thrown up. You would have said, what? Are you serious? You had Narvaez hitting 4th, Christian Campbell, who got off to a great start, but has been wretched at the plate, and he's going through it. Rookie, we all know, right?
And he had a rib injury. Sat out 3 days since then, has been a completely different player.
So, he's been going through it a little bit at the dish, and he's hitting 5th yesterday for you. Then you have Meyer, 2nd game in his Major League Baseball career, hitting 6th. Abraham Toro is, look at this. Look at this. Narvaez, Campbell, Meyer, Toro, Hamilton, Sogar, Rafaela. Oh, what is that going to do?
It feels like when Meyer got that trip from Worcester to Boston on Saturday, which I very much hope was the Doug Mirabelli police escort all the way down the pike back here. He took half of the Worcester team with him, as you list that off. And we know, obviously, Toro came up, and there are a lot of injuries here. I don't want to discount the injuries.
No.
You miss your number 3 and number 4 hitter from opening day, less than 2 months into the season. Casas and Bregman, huge blows. The issue is the controllables that you have are a miss. And I look, Nick, at the next, again, month to 6 weeks. Like this is an early critical point for the Red Sox. And I'll tell you, most nights before I go to bed, I open the same notebook and I write in a page, what is tomorrow about? And if the Red Sox are doing the same thing, think about things you have to do, things that you want to do, where everything else is going to fit in. What is June going to be about for them? It's making this work. It's treading water. It's doing what you have to do and getting to where you want to be by any means necessary, because the schedule is going to do you no favors, and those names are not going to change. The one that could, and we've all been talking about this for too long now, is Roman Anthony. Like, there's a solution. That, to me, is step one. If you're going to tread water in June, call him up. I think you have to bench Trevor Story, and you have to work with some of these guys, not only just in the lineup, but in the rotation, to go a little bit longer, because we know how taxed the bullpen is. Like, there's no rest for anybody right now, but that is what I look at. If you're going to tread water, which is probably the ceiling now for the next 6 weeks with this club, you need to start to figure out some of the controllables that you were missing on around the injuries to Bregman and Casas.
Cattles and Callahan in for Beadle and Zoe on this Monday, Memorial Day. And, you look at this Bregman injury, and here's the bad news. Cora comes out and says it's a significant injury. Now, we heard first Bregman say, it doesn't feel as bad as I thought it was going to feel when he first came out of the game. We'll see how I feel tomorrow morning. Then he wakes up. We find out he's going to get an MRI, which is never good. And then Cora says it's a significant injury. And if you look back, you go back to 2021, Andrew, and Bregman had a quad injury, and it cost him 58 games. And we remember, when Bregman signed late in the offseason, we all loved it, I think. I don't want to say universally, but most of us loved it because of what he brought, not just on the field, but off the field, and how good he's been, how good Alex Bregman has been so far this year. And now you're losing that vital piece for who knows how long. So we're not just talking about production at the plate. We're not just talking about defense. We're also talking about leadership. We're talking about that void. And you had a lineup yesterday that was full of guys who have played 1 year, 2 years in the majors. You had rookies in the lineup, like as we discussed with Meyer and Campbell and even Narvaez. And now you've got to what? Who's that leader by example? It's certainly not going to be Trevor Story with the way he's playing. So who's going to be that guy that fills the void if Bregman's out 40, 50, 60 games?
Who would you trust? I mean, the names that come to mind are obviously the guys playing well, right, and have a little bit of a track record. There's Duran, who I don't think is particularly vocal. Carlos Narvaez has come out and been, it's got the little Superman cape on, not just because he's hitting cleanup, but stabilizing a catcher position that's been completely lost without him. And kind of wrong, got banged up, whatever. But those are the two guys you're looking at right now.
You wish it was Rafael Devers, right? In a perfect world,
yeah,
it would
but you
be
know
Devers.
who he is.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not who he is. So you wish it would be him. He's your guy that's been in the big leagues for 7+ years. He's your all-star. He's the guy who's been absolutely raking so far this year. He would be the dude, but we know he doesn't want to be the dude, or he's completely incapable of being said dude, so you can't look at him and rely on him. And that's the unfortunate situation that you have right now. You were desperate for leadership. You brought it in with Alex Bregman, and now who knows how long he's going to be out, and you're left looking around going, all right, who wants to do it? Is it Abreu? Is it Story's tough if you're hitting, like, I don't know. It feels like he's hitting 175 the last month or so. I mean, do you lean on him?
I mean, then you're looking to the staff too, right? Like, in the
why are we here, Andrew? It's not even June yet. I was excited for this season. Why are we here?
Lots has gone wrong. Walker Buehler is a name that I think has flown under the radar when it comes to leadership, and it's partly just because the guy has a few starts, they don't go particularly well, gets banged up, comes back, is still finding his form. But he was another one like Bregman that we heard, winning pedigree, comes from the Dodgers. You're going to like what you see, and it's another one-year flyer. So he's personally, obviously financially motivated to go out there and get another contract next year, because Houck has lost. Bayo has been a complete disaster. And I don't think that's harsh by any means, given where he is in his career.
He can't give you 5 innings.
He's regressed.
He can't give you 5 innings. He's like 4 innings, They got a bunch of guys in the rotation now. Even Dobbins, who's been good considering, he can't give you 5 innings. Buehler, you wanted 6 from him yesterday. He gives you 5. Giolito was fantastic on Saturday night, and you wasted that because you couldn't hit. I mean, Tanner Houck's been a disaster. It's not good.
You know what this all means?
It's not good. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. It's
round the bases complaining about every spot in the roster and then in the bullpen is to say this is also Alex Cora's time to step up. Like, you want to ask leadership that starts with management.
No doubt.
You talk about decisions that he'd made that we're all looking, specifically Bayo, and I get you want to have confidence in your guys who he's left out there way too long, too many times, the way they've used up all of their bullpen arms. So you're getting to Sunday, and I get they're coming off a doubleheader. You just go, who's left in Worcester? Oh, well, no one's in Worcester because of the way that the roster was constructed. He's got to figure this out. He's got to break out as much Scotch tape as needed, as much Gorilla Glue as he needs to get this team together. And I said, just kind of tread water, because I think without, again, 2 middle-of-the-order bats that you have and your only outstanding right-handed bat, this is where the management and little magic of Alex Cora, if you believe in him as one of the best managers in baseball, has to bring them together and make them more than the sum of their parts.
And in a perfect world, you would have had these younger guys with not a ton of pressure on them. Campbell could have hit towards the bottom of the lineup. Meyer, if he comes up, he hits towards the bottom of the lineup until he gets into some kind of groove. But now you're looking at somebody like Meyer, and you're saying, hey, replace a Gold Glove third baseman, and you're going to hit in the middle of the lineup from like day one. So good luck to you. And there's just going to be even more pressure on the young guys. 617-779-0985. 617-779-0985. Want your thoughts on the Red Sox? Obviously a disappointing start. Andrew just brought up Alex Cora. And Cora had something interesting to say about Rafi Devers over the weekend. And I wonder, I'm sure Andrew wonders, is Devers the answer to some of these problems? We'll get to that coming up next. How about your everyday third baseman just last year? How about that guy? Does Rafael Devers ring a bell, Alex? Is that even a thought? We're moving heaven and earth to fill third base when Rafi Devers, who was your everyday third baseman for 6+ years, is sitting there just watching this play out. Like, what, am I in some crazy world, Andrew?
You're not crazy, but I will move heaven and earth for this Rafael Devers, which is the best hitter we've ever seen.
I don't
in
disagree.
That uniform.
I don't disagree.
Well, you should. I don't like. You're making the obvious point that this guy played third. He's played third before. It's not great. If you need it for 10 weeks, maybe go with a guy who's actually done it. Because the first guy that Cora listed was Cedar Rafaela, who we know is outstanding in center field,
right,
but is not certainly to the same level at any other place. So his value as a player diminishes when you move him from the place that he's most impactful as a defensive player, because his bat is always going to be between number 8 and number 9 or either spot in the lineup, right?
Right.
So to me, yeah, I think it's a fair thing. Right now, I look at this, and for people who don't remember, there was another player, a little mercurial, who was less difficult to deal with, that the Red Sox moved heaven and earth for, and it was the right decision. His name was Manny Ramirez. Okay? Like, we've done this before.
Yeah.
And sometimes what's best for the team is best for the individual player when he is powering your entire offense for the last month.
Yes. I don't disagree with you. I want to be clear. I wouldn't move Devers to third. I would not play Devers at third because he's raking. And as you said, this is the best Devers that we've seen, and we know that Devers is emotional, which is fine, and we know that he'll get into his feels, and all of a sudden you lose him. And right now, with what's going on with this team, the last guy that you could lose is Devers. You don't want him fighting it mentally. You don't want him to all of a sudden, because he's upset and he doesn't want to go back to third, because we saw what happened with the first base thing a couple of weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's now hitting 250. And your lineup's like, wait a minute. I just find it hilarious that Cora's running through like the laundry list of all these options that they could go with. And it's, let's take the Gold Glove center fielder and throw him at third. Let's call up Marcelo Meyer and throw him at third. He's played 5 games there. Let's throw him at third. Maybe it'll work out. He's like, maybe Carlos Narvaez could play some third base. And Rafael Devers is the name that should not be tossed out. It's like, to Cora, it's the guy we shall not name in these press conferences. He doesn't even want to touch it because he knows. He doesn't. Craig Breslow's the one that went to Devers and talked about first base. Cora doesn't even want to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. He's like, nope, we're leaving Devers in the corner. He's DHing. That's what he's going to do. And I will go out. I will unretire and play third base before we put Devers back there.
You know what's funny about him listing Rafael at first, too, is, okay, he can play third. Well, that opens up a spot in center. Kick Duran over, call up Roman Anthony.
Yeah.
And maybe if you'd rather just move Rafael to short, and you want to keep Meyer at third, who's been at third base, not the decision I would have made, still opens up a spot in the outfield to call up Roman Anthony. Now, that's a separate conversation, but as far as Devers goes, I don't think people get, again, to the extent, and I understand the frustrations of, oh, okay, you just had to DH. Like, why were you upset about that? Well, the Red Sox went back on their word, and yeah, he's getting a ton of money, and you go back on that contract. He's not just the labor on this team. He's the product. And right now, he is everything that's keeping this offense alive. When you are as good as Rafael Devers is at hitting a baseball, among the best on the planet, the top 1% of the 1%, he's better at his job than you are at yours, than I am at mine. That comes with power. It comes with influence, and he deserves all of it. Because just imagine where this team that we spent the whole first block and a half, complaining about would be without that guy. What you need, what you want, is him smiling, just as he is, as you can see for the folks watching on TV, with all of these hits. Okay? Keep that smile as long as you can, within reason. He's a bad defensive player. Figure it out. This is what Core is getting paid for. And if they need to make a move, Craig Breslow, if he ever wants to come out and be in a different room from Rafael Devers, which, of course, is the only place he wants to be, make a trade. Because clearly this roster, as it is constructed, is not working.
Well, they traded for Ryan Noda, who first base outfielder.
Hang the banner.
And
Ryan Noda. For what? Cash, right?
I'm not telling you that he's going to be. He's played first base. He has been an everyday first baseman in his career. So that's somebody that you could throw over there. I mean, we're comparing it to Abraham Toro, which, good for him. He's found a role in the majors, but he is what he is. He's not an everyday guy. Neither is Romy Gonzalez. You got to find something. And I think when you look at this, and it's Cattles and Callahan in for Zoe and Beetle, when you look at this, Andrew, it's also just the organizational failure that we're witnessing of not having any depth whatsoever at first base organizationally, and that puts you in a very tough spot. It was Tristan Casas or bust, and Devers was not going to move. I would have tried my hardest to get Devers over there to at least try to play some first base, but he's not going to do it. Core doesn't want to do it, and now you've got a messy infield situation. Myers played 7 or 8 games in his career, counting minors, at third base. You got Christian Campbell, who's still learning second base. Now they're throwing him at first base before games, trying to get him some work over there. So, I mean, you've got a guy who's hardly ever played third playing third. You've got a guy, and look, Myers going to be fine. Shortstop, as we know, most athletic position on the field, and I think he'll be fine. But it's just the fact that you're asking Marcelo Meyer to play a position he's never really played before as he debuts in the majors. You threw Campbell into the deep end to play second, a position, that he's still trying to figure out at the major league level. Now you're shuffling Campbell over and getting him some reps at first base, I guess with the idea of maybe you put Campbell at first and you shift Rafaela to third, you put Meyer at second, then you call up Roman.
Do you hear all the knots you just listed yourself in?
I know, this is ridiculous.
And that's exactly, you're right, where the Red Sox are. And look, there are issues that are foundational and fundamental and are really big problems, which right now is their lack of hitting and the fact that their starters just cannot consistently go 5 to buy themselves some time, buy the bullpen some time. There are issues like you're talking about that I think can be worked out over time and with more reps, because to me, I was a fan of the Christian Campbell to first base plan. He seems, between himself, Anthony, and Meyer, to be the most malleable defensively. Anthony's only ever played outfield. Meyer, as a star shortstop, is going to play shortstop. You need a couple of games, you can get by with it. At third, the issue, though, again, when you talk about things that are elemental, like really you cannot run away from or just wait out. This team is second in the majors, we call it second worst, in errors per game, okay? 0.78. And I know there are a lot of baseball folks who are deeper into the numbers than I am, go, errors per game, is that really how you want to measure defense? Fine. Pick any metric you want. None of them are good.
Is that what those people sound like to you?
Yes, yeah. Always. And look, sometimes I'm one of them. Huge fantasy baseball guy sitting right here.
I was going to say, you're also the cleaning the glass guy with the NBA talk, right?
I try. We got to find numbers and some truth somewhere. Okay. But the point is, for a bad defensive team, before all of the injuries and all the shuffling and all the knots you just tied yourself into, like, you now have issues at the corners. And you just can't have that right now, giving away outs, as we saw with some Mickey Mouse defense against the Orioles, which is really what sank them in that series, and some decision making. And that's just what it is. That's who this team has been. So I think, again, the Devers part is just let him be. Let the one thing that's really working about this club continue to work. What are you going to do around him? Because the discovery period of this season, now that we're more than 1/3 of the way through, is over. Now it's problem solving. Now it's on Cora. Now it's on Andrew Bailey. What are you going to do about it?
It's just this feeling of blah, frankly, because we've seen this movie before over and over and over again. And it's just, you're waking up. It's Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray, one of my favorite movies. I always reference it. You're waking up, you're rolling over, you're smashing the alarm clock, and you're just waiting to wake up from this dreadful dream of 500 baseball. And we thought it was going to be this year, and so far it hasn't been. 5-5 on the homestand. You just split a series with the god-awful Baltimore Orioles, and now you're searching. You're scrambling. It's not even June, and you're scrambling.